All right, when I think of 305 culture, I think of Luther Campbell. I think of guys like DJ Laz. I think of La Carreta. And I think of my next guest, the curator of all things Miami cool, Derick G. What's up, my man?
I appreciate that. That was great. That's great. That's what's it called? Great, not partnership, but
good intro?
Great company.
Yeah, good company, bro. Yeah,
great
man.
company. I appreciate that.
Dude, I'm excited to have you on. I follow you on IG. You have a great following, and you're actually a good follower. And I encourage anybody listening to the show to follow you. But I don't know a lot about you, man. Tell me, like, how did you get into, like, you obviously you grew up in Miami. Where'd you grow up? And then how did you get into sort of your space, your world, and all the cool things you're doing?
So I'm from Hialeah. So I was born in Mount Sinai on the beach. Lived in Miami Springs till I was 3. Then I moved to Hialeah. My mom's still at the same crib. I've obviously moved around the city a couple times, but I'm in close quarters.
Yeah.
And cars. I've always said it, and you can watch all my podcasts in the past, and like my story, it's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I'm a car guy, man, and cars got me everything that made me successful. You know, I'm a huge car guy. I'm very passionate about cars, and I started, like I was telling you earlier, I got into I started providing cars for music videos.
Yeah.
So that's like that was my door into the music videos, and you'd be amazed how many music videos we shot in Hialeah at the Prop Masters.
No way.
That is a dope location where they obviously make huge props. They have a big studio, and we used to shoot there all the time. I've had everyone and their mom in that building. And then me bringing camera on set, you know, shooting the cars on set, what's next to the car, the artist, the video girls, and, you know, I'm partially responsible for Insta baddies, you know, hot girls on Instagram, because that's something kind of like we were doing down here, and I built my name off of that as well, as, you know, any guys love that, so that helped me build my following. And then obviously the celebrity aspect, I just started tying in, and once I became the guy down here where when I would get hired through labels or even upcoming artists and management teams, the two questions would be like, before Instagram, before all that stuff, I used to have DerickG.com.
Mm-hmm.
And DerickG.com was a place you went to catch up on hip hop history or like hip hop current events.
Yeah.
Stuff to do in Miami. And it was just one of those things where it's like people would come to my site to see what's, you know, what was popping. And as a photographer, I would just share all my work on there as well. So a lot of pages like Rap Radar and like World Star Hip Hop used to come and like take things from there and post it on their sites to just kind of like build that. And obviously a big help to that was being behind the scenes on music videos with all the big artists.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of got in 2006 when like there was a huge wave of like everybody was shooting music videos down here.
Right.
So I would just happen to be there taking all the behind the scenes shots, and it was just like right place, right time.
So you take a step back. You were always into car culture, own your own cars, and then, as I understand it, through MySpace, you were just like renting out cars for video shoots, and that's how kind of that was your foot in the door?
It was more word of mouth. It was just more like, hey, we need cars. You know anybody? And because I was shooting, even at an amateur level, people just assumed I was in production. So like, I know a guy that takes pictures. He has a nice car. Let me call him. And all my friends had nice cars. So it was essentially like, hey, they're going to pay me to pay my friends to put their cars in music videos.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it would be great money. Sometimes the money would suck, but the experience was cool. So it would just go, you know, we're literally like late teens, early 20s, you know, doing things that, you know, unless you were in the entertainment industry, you know, nobody from Hialeah was doing that stuff.
Right.
So, you know, being on set of like Ragata with Wisin and Yandel, you know, just at the beginning, we were like, who are those guys? Like, oh, some Puerto Rican reggaeton artists. And like, obviously look at them now, you know? But like, you know, popping into sets like We Taking Over. There's so many. Like the other day, somebody asked me, and I went blank. So I need to like take the time and make a list. Yo, here's the list.
You have to go back into your. So I mean, did you have formal like photography training? No, you were just always like. So as a kid, you got a camera and just started taking shots.
I've said this a bunch of times as well. I've always asked for it as an elective, and I never got it. I got TV production in 9th grade, which was in '99.
Yeah.
And back then, we had already gone digital at a consumer level, but the schools weren't caught up yet. They were still teaching you how to edit VHS to VHS like on machines. It wasn't even software; it was actual hardware connected to a monitor. And like I learned how to edit and all that stuff on there, but it was just completely different than what it is now. But that's the only training I had of any sort in media. Everything else is just trial and error. And that's the kind of person I am. You can't teach me your business. You would just have to give me access and let me figure it out. That's how I learn. I don't learn from.
I'm the same way.
You know, like I'm a graduate of YouTube University
Yeah, it's a great university,
you
bro.
can see everything
Yeah.
and you see them doing it, and I just follow along and you get it done. You know, so like I'm very visual in that aspect.
The amount of stuff that I've learned online through YouTube, I'll even go IG stuff like, because it'll spark my interest, like, oh, this guy's talking about whatever, and then I'll go to YouTube or whatever, or just read up on their blog, whatever. Dude, you just go down a rabbit hole of curiosity and learning, and it's about learning. It's not
Yeah.
about the degree or whatever, whatever. It's no, how do I learn? What's my process? And everybody learns a little different. That's interesting. So you go, you buy a camera, you start renting out the cars, and then you go to the shoots and you just start snapping pictures.
Yeah, it took a while before I started actually getting paid to do behind the scenes photos, because there wasn't a need for it per se.
Yeah,
Uh, but it's nice to have.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But I would make money off the cars. So like I'll just take pictures while I'm there. And then it's like I said earlier, I would start shooting and I would get the girls. So like even at one job, I would make friends with the girls because
Yeah.
they wanted the photos, because
Sure.
they could never, smartphones weren't a thing like that back then. And I was on a job once where like, damn, we need like 3 more girls. Hey, Derick, you happen to know anybody? I was like, oh, yeah, I met some last week at this job. Let me hit them up. And then eventually I just started like booking girls on videos as well.
Yeah.
So it's like all like the hip hop starter kit for music videos.
Yeah.
I would
Derick
just
was
have
the
like
guy.
cars behind the scenes and like the video girls and stuff like that. So essentially I became like a lifeline to make money for like friends with cars, and even just like girls that wanted to be in, back then it wasn't, OnlyFans wasn't a thing.
Yeah,
Instagram wasn't a thing. So like the only way you got fame is you were either published in a physical magazine or
Yeah.
you were seen in music videos and you were
Right.
featured like a Melissa Ford or something
Yeah.
like that. So I was like the guy down here, where it's like, if you want to get in videos, holler at this dude.
So when did it go from you were setting this up? So it's a cool little business, right? You got cars, the girls, behind the scenes, and then sort of, I'll call it even storytelling, right? Like you started to get more into videography and that kind of stuff. When did that happen?
So it wasn't even a business; it was more like a hustle.
Oh yeah, that's okay. A hustle's a business.
Because it was just one of those things where it's like I didn't like market it; it would just fall on my lap.
Yeah.
Hey, we're doing something this weekend. Like I said, that was the era where they were shooting. I was on 3 sets a week. Like it was like
Really?
celebrities every week. So
Yeah.
I became very jaded to it. It's just a normal day at work. You know what I mean? The only part that sucked about it is I couldn't really talk about it with certain friends because they would feel like I'm bragging.
Right.
And it wasn't bragging. It was just like, this was my day. This was my day
Yeah.
of work. But the video just started when the camera started doing video. It was just as simple as that. Like, hey, these new cameras do video now. I was like, oh, I guess I'm gonna start doing video. And the first thing I ever shot with that camera, it was the Canon 5D, the Mark II.
Mhm.
I was flown to, I went down to Colombia to Medellin with Gil Green, Jed Allison, and the 305 Films team. We went down there to shoot a video for Rick Ross and The Dream called All I Really Want. And I was brought in as a translator because that whole team are Jewish and black. So I was like the only Latino on the team for the most part. So I was brought in as a translator and then also behind the scenes. And I helped with the casting as well, because the same thing was like communicating. Like, all they could do is be like, yo, she's dope. Let's book her. So then, helping with that. And they had a whole team down in Colombia as well that was very engaged. And they were bilingual as well. So they were able to help on everything too. But that was the first time that I did video with that camera where like people were like, yo, why is that footage so different? It's because it was shooting at 30 frames. It was really crispy.
Yeah.
And people started paying attention to that. But like, it was just like, all right, cool. Video brings you a completely different element. I like photography over video.
Yeah.
But I know video is a bigger tool right now.
Right. And then when did you go, man, I got some skills here. Like I'm pretty good at this. Or at least somebody identify you as a guy that's like, oh, wait a minute, this kid's got some real talent.
So
let's do something with him.
So funny enough, I don't think it's talent. My talent is in storytelling, not in content.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is I know how to tell a good story. Now, can it be shot better? 1,000%.
Right.
There's a lot of guys here in Miami that are, and I'll say it like on record, 1,000 times better than I am.
Right.
But they're just from a different era.
Sure.
And what I mean by that, and I was having this conversation with one of my guys yesterday, was that everything now is 60 seconds. Everything is short form.
Yeah.
If you tell them they have to make a 10-minute video, it's like you're asking them to write the encyclopedia. Like they're like, what do you mean? What am I supposed to do for 10 minutes? Like,
right. They don't even know where to get
started. They
started.
don't know. Like they're scratching their, like they literally go like deer in headlights kind
Yeah.
of situation. And it's like, I know how to do a 10-minute video like nothing, because that's the era I came from.
Sure.
We want the long form content. Before it was considered long form
Yeah.
content. It was just, a 10-minute video was a short video because videos were an hour long.
Sure, man. Yeah.
2 hours long.
Yeah,
And that's a
man.
movie. And now, with the ADD society, it's
all quick reels and get it out
60
there.
seconds, 90 seconds. You have something for 3 minutes, it's way too long. I just did a big job with one of my clients, and they wanted to do a 3-minute video, and like they were like, yo, 3 minutes is way too long. And I was like, all right, you want to do 2 minutes? They're like, yeah, all right, cool, bet, easy.
Let's go. Bam.
So I got the guys to help me with that. And like I said, I think my talent is more in storytelling than it is in content.
Yeah.
It's just content was the medium I chose to tell it.
Yeah.
I actually, in high school, I got awards for creative writing. I don't like to write. So I'm a very visual person. I'm dyslexic.
Okay.
So reading is actually annoying, like contracts and shit. I hate that because I literally have to like stop what I have to
you
lock
can get a
in.
lawyer to do that, dude.
You know what I mean? But you can't even trust 90% of lawyers. So, So, but it's one of those things where it's like, I know I'm a good storyteller. I know I can put things on paper and things on video where if the right audience sees it, it catches. And that's the thing is like now there used to be 20 audiences, and back in the days now there's 20 billion audiences because there's so many niches and so many pockets. So it's just finding your people. It's just finding your audience. And I think that's like the biggest part of like, I've always said it, do what you love and the right people will find you.
For sure.
Your
people, it's a lot of people, but it's almost like a Miami hip hop culture, I don't know, graffiti car culture. How is that Miami culture different than, call it, the LA car hip hop culture, or even New York? How would you define it?
I think it's more ethnicity.
Yeah. So
it's like, for example, I grew up, my group of friends were literally from all different countries. Mm-hmm. Now Hialeah is like 90% Cuban. Yeah. But me growing up in the 90s, I actually had Nicaraguan friends. I had Puerto Rican friends. I had another Costa Rican friend, Colombian, Cuban, obviously, Guatemalan. Like literally everybody's house smelled different. Yeah. Everybody's mom sounded different. Yeah. So it was cool because it was literally like the Latin United Nations, 100%. Like my friends, because we would all, but at the end of the day, we're all Chicos. Like we're all Hialeah Chicos. That's it. You know what I mean? Because that's what we grew up on. But I think it's just more ethnically. And also, like I said, we're babies compared to like the rest. Mexicans in LA been going for over 100 years. Latinos started coming here 50 years ago. Right. So different, same thing in New York. New York is a global hub. Yeah. But New York's 300 years old. Florida just turned 100. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's just different, man. And as the climate changes and like the political climate changes and all that stuff changes, like it adjusts it. The difference that I say down here is that since we are so new to it and we also have so much distraction, it's like cars is something you do. Yes, there is a huge car culture in Miami and it's very, very real, but a lot of it's not life. Yeah. Like I was just in Arizona 2.5 weeks ago, and I actually went to a lowrider thing out there, and like that shit is their life.
It's their life, right?
It's their life, and it's so dope how passionate they are. And it's like I started following a couple people based on me going to those events, and like it's the same people at the same events, and that's their life. It's like that's what they look forward to every weekend. We're going to a different car show. The cars don't change. It's the same cars, same people.
The lowrider culture.
Yeah. And mind you, people build cars to bring them out and all. Yeah. But it's just so dope how like it's literally like their life. Yeah. Like people's lives here. Like we're in Brickell, you're out on the beach. You're going to you're in the scene.
There's a lot of diversity of stuff to do. Yeah.
If you're on South Beach, it's a completely different world. Yeah. If you're in the Wynwood, you're more like younger, cooler. Yeah. It's a different world. If you're west of 95, you're blue collar. You know what I mean? It's just different culture. They're not going. They'll go to Wynwood once a month just to kind of go, but they're hanging out in the neighborhoods and stuff like that. And it's different. It's not like the Grove days where like we used to all ride. Everybody used to go to the Grove. Everybody used to go to the beach. It's just different. So I think it's just more ethnically that causes it to be different. Because even like down here, like at a car level, there's cars in like Liberty City and Carroll City and certain neighborhoods, even up in Broward, that you'll never see in Wynwood. You'll never see on the beach because they don't leave their neighborhoods.
They don't leave their neighborhoods. Yeah, it's true.
It's just it's culturally like that's what they do. They hang out on their block. It's just that's what it is.
What are the biggest? So COVID had a big change on Miami. What have you seen Miami the last couple of years? What are the big differences?
I mean, economically, it's good for the city, right? But I don't think it's been good for the community.
Give me some examples.
Like, it's you need to be rich to live here.
No, I completely.
You
It's
know what I
become
mean?
the town of the haves and the have-nots because a lot of the people who moved here are uber wealthy. You know, you got obviously you always have Latin American wealth, but now you have Wall Street wealth, you have tech wealth. It's driven up the prices on everything. You know, call it the working class folks. Housing is a big problem in our community, and Miami's crazy, man. I was talking to. I was having this conversation with somebody was you know in the group, and he's about my age, and he's talking. Oh yeah, when I was in Miami, I said, "Where'd you grow up?" He's like, "Aventura." I go, "Bro, technically it's Miami. That ain't Miami, dude.
Yeah.
Like Miami is Kendall, Hialeah, like where we, you know, I grew up in
always
Kendall.
say west of A1A.
Yeah,
But
that's
if
the
you're on
real
the
Miami.
if you're on the water,
That's not Miami.
you didn't
dude.
go. You didn't understand what it was to grow up down here. You had a great life, and props to you. If we all want to do it for our kids.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at you for that, but you don't know what it was to really grow up in Miami.
No, my Miami was a different world, dude. I mean, you hit it on the head. I would say 80% of the people I hung out with growing up were Latino, but like from the country. So heavy Cuban, but you know, people from Nicaragua, Costa Rica, like all this stuff, Argentina. And there's no other place or city like it. And a lot of those people, different, where I lived in Chicago for many years, Chicago, heavy Mexican community, right?
Pilsen, shout out Pilsen.
Yeah, it's a great town.
Yeah. I love Pilsen.
And what I always found with the Mexican community there was they really came here for economic reasons. And a lot of the people in Miami, specifically the Cubans, it was political reasons, right? So we're very political focused. And they weren't as much of that. They wanted to come here for a better life. And
they went. You know why they ended up in Chicago? Because there was work.
Because there was work. Yeah. Factory work.
Work that nobody wanted to do. No, even construction.
Construction, yeah.
There's work that people don't want to deal with the weather, and we need to make money, and they thug it out, and that's why it's their community.
Yeah, man, it's pretty wild. And even if you think about the black community here, dude, like the roots of it is Bahamian, Haitian, Jamaican,
yeah.
And there are people, like I always tell people, how many black people you know here in the country that really care about immigration? And they're like, no, it's not their top thing. I go, in Miami, they care. The Haitians, Jamaicans, they care about immigration, right? Yeah. That's important. So even like the things that are important to that community are different in Miami. Miami is like no other place in this country. I mean, that is for sure. And that's what I think the secret sauce is, and part of your storytelling shares with the rest of the world, right?
I mean, I just think, like I said, you don't realize how different Miami is till you step out a bunch of times. Because you might go somewhere and you're like, oh, it's only this place that's different. Correct. It's like, no, every place is different, and every place has its own thing. I've always said it, like, if I've ever had to leave Miami for whatever reason, or if I ever wanted to get out of here, like LA would be like my spot, because it's just climate's almost the same. Yeah. Less humidity. Car culture is very car culture is very similar. But even now, like, I'm legit, like Chicago, I'm really liking Chicago. And like, I don't know about I've done it. I've been there. I have pictures of me next to the bean, and everything is white out. And it's fun while you're there, but I don't know about living in that.
No,
you know
what
tough. I mean? So, if finances go great, maybe I have a summer home.
There you go, bro.
A cool little apartment where I can park a car and enjoy my time there. But like I said, I think it's just more, I preach this a lot, where it's like, we're the pioneers of this culture down here, and we just need to really stand strong and make sure we take ownership of it before it just becomes another Manhattan.
Right. Some cookie cutter crap. Right.
You know what I mean? Like Lower East Side is one that still held it down. Like if you go, there's people that are there like, yo, we've been here forever, and they're there. Mind you, they have rent control, so it's a different game. But down here, it's like, it's all about the almighty dollar, and it's affecting us as the locals. Where like a lot of my friends are like, man, fuck this place. Like,
I gotta move.
I gotta move. I can't afford it. Like, I need a better quality of life for my family.
Yeah, man.
And one of my biggest drivers I've been self-employed since 2006. One of my biggest drivers to be self-employed was dodging traffic. Now there's traffic all day long.
Oh yeah, dude. No doubt. Now you love Miami, but there was a time that you didn't live here. You moved away for a short time.
Yeah, I moved to Akron, Ohio.
What were you doing in Akron, Ohio?
With LeBron James.
How did you get connected with him?
So when he came down here, you gotta understand, like, guys like that, guys like Tom Brady, they're an economy. Wherever they go, the money follows. So when he came down here, Nike and Beats by Dre showed up, and they were just activating all the time. And I used to, like I said, I come from the content world. Obviously, I had a name already with the Cash Money stuff and all that. So as in big brands, everybody wants to be cool by association. So I was the guy down here. Like,
Yeah.
oh, who deals with the celebrities? Who's the one that's like tapped into everybody? Derick is. So naturally, I started working with this agency out of New York, and they would handle a lot of stuff for Nike, a lot of stuff for Beats by Dre, and I was their guy down here. But I was even to the point where like, hey, if there's any work in New York, like I wouldn't mind buying a ticket to go. Like I could stay here and not make money, or I could spend $500 and come home with $3,000.
Right.
So I would go to New York and do a lot of work up there with them. And when they would come down here, I was their guy. And what I've learned is clients from out of state have a hard time working with people from here. So I became their buffer.
Right.
So I'd be like, let me handle my guys. You deal with me. I know what you need. I know how to maneuver with my guys. And it's like things need to be done in 3 hours. I tell my guys it needs to be done in 1. Just because like it's just different math.
Yeah.
Down here we're a little bit different. Which I tell people it's island life down here. People just want to hang out all day with no shirt on and just like, let the bills get paid. Unfortunately, that's not how New York moves. That's not how LA moves.
Right.
And that's why they are where they are. And that's why we are where we are.
Right.
And that's why they're here, I don't want to say taking stuff from us, but taking opportunities that we can take ownership over because we just move a different way. And it's a better quality of life to a certain extent, but not at a financial level.
Yeah.
So like I learned how to maneuver like they maneuver. And I was just their guy down here. And then when LeBron came down here, and they just literally, the guy told me that, yo, get ready. We're going to be doing a lot of shit in Miami. And I would get hired for all the like the beats and the Nike stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually his team would just start seeing me all the time. And then they'd be like, yo, you're like on every job. But I've never been friendly to the point where I go in and introduce myself to people.
Of course. Right.
And I've always said, if you act like a fan, they treat you like a fan. So I've never, like, if I don't get introduced, you don't say anything. I'll say, hey, what's up? This is what I need you for. And boom, boom. And I leave them alone. And eventually I just, it just came to a point where it's like, they would say what's up to me every single time. And then eventually it's like, oh, this is so-and-so. And they introduced us. And,
because we need you in Akron.
Well, no, it was here because we didn't know. I was with him before they decided to go back.
Ah, okay.
Because I was with him his last year here in Miami, and it started through Beats, and then Maverick Carter, which is LeBron's manager and business partner, was like, "Hey, actually, we have a lot of stuff going on beyond the Beats and the Nike stuff. Would you want to get involved and like help us shoot some stuff?" Like, yeah, cool, I'm down. And it was cool because there was at a point where like I was triple dipping jobs. And what I mean by that is like LeBron needed content, Beats needed content, and Nike needed content from the exact same experience.
Mm-hmm.
So like LeBron in the locker room in the playoffs before walking out, we need a Nike shot for social, we need a Beats by Dre shot for social, and LeBron needs a shot for social.
Yeah.
So it's literally like, this one's for LeBron, this one's for Nike, this one's for Beats by Dre, the exact same shot. And it was 3 different paychecks. So it was a good time for me.
Right.
And like literally like the Nike basketball's Instagram was a bunch of my photos or photos from guys from my team. Same thing with Beats. It was one of those things where like anything LeBron was on, at that era for like those 2 years, chances are I was the one who took the photo.
No way. What do you think are things that folks who use Instagram for whether business, personal brand, whatever, what are things that they do wrong? Like what are things that you could do right, and what do you see people doing wrong?
I don't know, man, because to be honest, my channel grew. Full transparency is because I used to shoot all the hot chicks. That's what built my following.
Okay, I mean, so I have hot chicks.
Yeah,
one.
That's what built my following, and I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
But obviously the celebrity stuff,
of course,
obviously helped as well. But you see it like the engagement. If I post like a hot girl, people are like, oh, he's back.
He's back.
In the comments and stuff like that, it's pretty funny. But I feel like a lot of the guys are just waiting there hopeful. But also the algorithm sucks now, where it's like, only like 10% of your following really sees your stuff unless you like they happen to check on you, and then you just fall right back into the algorithm. So like you see it because like I have 113,000 organic followers, and I'll post something. It gets maybe like less than 2% of like what my following engagement.
Yeah.
But then I'll see somebody has 10 million followers, and it'll be the same thing. They only have like 10,000 likes. If you have 10 million followers,
and you get 10,000,
it's like the same amount of percentage.
Right.
So it's like, okay, at least it's organic. But it's just weird, like, and it sucks that people just, I don't depend on Instagram for business.
Right.
Instagram is just somewhere like they could look back and kind of check on you to see if you're legit.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a resume.
Yeah.
But like, if you look at my Instagram, like I'm posting more, like I'm working on this project Slide now, and like that's what my social media is.
I got to get that. Give me the current state of Miami hip hop and bro, probably reggaeton, right? It's the reggaeton capital of the world.
And it is because it's a hub for it, but
Right.
it's not like we're having artists coming out of here. It's just artists from other places
That come and
live
hang,
here.
they come and live here.
Yeah, because it's the industry. It's like where Motown was.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? So it's just I mean, Miami, there's more Spanish speakers than anything
Yeah.
anywhere else in the country.
Right.
We have the biggest population of Cubans beyond Cuba.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I think Nicaragua too, like a bunch of places.
well, it's funny because I have people from LA that have come here and they're Latins that don't speak Spanish.
Right.
Because that's just how they were brought up. And they come here and they're like, yo, I couldn't talk to my Uber driver. So it's like they don't realize like how Latin we are down here and how Spanish, how forward Spanish speaking we are down here.
Yeah.
Like even signage is crazy. Like you drive through like Hialeah or even Puerto Calle Ocho and like everything's in Spanish.
Yeah.
And it's normal to us because it's what we grew up around.
Yeah.
But nowhere else in the country is like that. And people don't realize that until like, oh, that's not normal.
But, dude, I went so I had to go to Mercy Hospital to get something done. And they checked me in Spanish. And I go to my head, I go, I'm going to play a game. I'm going to see how long before somebody speaks English to me. Bro, from the time that I went, I filled out my form. I got, because I had a minor procedure, anesthesia, the entire thing was in Spanish, dude.
Mm-hmm.
The only time I spoke English was right before the doctor spoke to me in English, but he was a Cuban American. And I'm like, oh my gosh, so if you're not from here,
yeah, it's different.
It's different, man. And this is at Mercy Hospital. This is a nice hospital, like, you know. And I'm like, wow, man, like this is a different world.
Yeah.
Miami, it's an amazing place. I mean, it's where we grew up. It's our home.
Yep.
Some people love it. Some people get frustrated, and I get it. But it's interesting. There's no other place in the world like this.
But because of that, I think that's why it became the reggaeton hub, because it's just easy for them to communicate. It's easy for the Latinos to come here and it kind of feels like home, you know.
And you get all the good stuff of the United States.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like that's why I think it became that. When it comes to like local hip hop, it's a different climate, bro. It's so there's really dope guys like Mike Smith. He's like super dope. Like I really like what he's doing right now. And there's just like different styles of these dudes from Kendall, Puya, and Fat Nick.
Mm-hmm.
They just have a completely different style of hip hop, which is really dope. Obviously, Little Pump's from down here. He had his thing. And then obviously to me, it's like all the OGs, the Pits, the Tricks.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of stuff. It's different down here, man. It's just not, we're not producing. I don't feel like you have to be that to live the lifestyle. So down here, I feel it's just more like something to do.
Yeah.
Versus like in New York, you got to do it to get out.
Right. To get,
you know what I mean?
It's island culture, bro.
It's just different. Atlanta, hip hop is culture. It's like what I said about like you go to Atlanta, like on the weekends, everybody's hanging out at the studio.
Really?
Like they go to the club at like 4 a.m. Like it's just different. I hung out in Atlanta for a while in part of my career, and it was just like they don't have like a strip. They don't have like a. It's like
Atlanta's a little different.
Yeah,
right.
You hang out at the studio. You hang out at the strip club. Like it's
and that's
music.
where they break a lot of music. It's a strip club, right?
Yeah, it's music. It's literally their entire life and culture is music.
Wow.
And obviously predominantly hip hop. So it's just, and that's just another thing. You go over there and you know it's a different kind of town. They're inland. You know, it's just a completely different experience, but it's beautiful in its own right. Like it's literally a different cultural experience than in Miami. But then that's why a lot of hip hop want to come down here, because what other hip hop scene has palm trees and oceans? They're beaches.
Yeah, I mean,
because even in LA, you got a ton of palm trees, but you never see them talking about the beach. They're not posted up by the sand.
No,
it's all street.
It's all street, right?
Here, like Casey Chop says it best, like jet ski culture.
Yeah, this is the only place.
Where else in the United States of America do you see jet skis be a thing?
Nowhere.
Like people come from out of town and they want to get their picture on a jet ski because it's like water motorcycles.
Yeah.
Like, but we go and we see them everywhere. We don't care. Everybody has them in their backyard. They're tirado.
Yeah.
And it's very normal to us because it is normal here.
Yeah.
It's not normal anywhere else. And that's the thing, is once you step out and you realize like how different we are compared to every other city in the country, it's a different vibe.
You recently did something. Well, one of the cool things you have is an awesome collection of Miami hip hop culture artifacts. I don't even know how to explain it. And you recently did a collaboration, a sort of a Miami history conversation with Abel Sanchez. Yeah. How did you get all this stuff? When did you start collecting?
I call it
and you,
collecting. My girl calls it hoarding.
oh, it's cool. I call it collecting. You got like Two Life Crew stuff from
Mhm.
the 80s. I mean, it's crazy.
I mean, it's as easy as like, yo, what are you gonna do with that picture whenever you get bored of it? Let me get it.
Let me get it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll buy it off of you. Let me know. I mean, it's something that I like. It's something that I figured out a little while ago that most museums are boring.
Correct.
Respectfully.
Yeah.
Can you have a good experience at a museum? 1,000%. I like science and discovery museums
Yeah.
just because I'm into dinosaurs and shit
Yeah.
like that. Some history museums are cool if the subject matters and is interesting to me. Obviously, like old technology as well. I like to see. But 90% of the things you go to, it's 100+ years old.
Yeah.
You're talking to somebody that was taught the information, which I can teach you how to make tacos and tell you make tacos out of pizza, and you'll believe me because you don't know no better.
Right. Right.
And it's one of those things where it's like, I don't want to say it's not believable, but what I've learned about current history is that you can still talk to people that were from that era. So
Right.
like, even like why me and Abel click is because he remembers, he has a photo of him in front of Miami Stadium as being demolished.
He took this picture.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and that's the kind of stuff where you can have conversations with people like him. And mind you, 50 is not old anymore.
No, man, not at all.
When we were kids, a 50-year-old man was un viejo.
Bro, I'm going to be 50 this year.
You know what I mean? I'm 41. I don't look like a 41.
Yeah,
I don't
no,
dress like a 41-year-old. You
yeah.
know what I mean? And it's just, like I always say, we're not our parents.
Right.
It's a different era. But what I have figured out is like I did this at my first solo 305 event. It was called 305 Fest. I did like this whole history and culture section where people were like, oh shit, I have a picture of my dad carrying me when I was a baby and he was wearing this hat. Or like JT Money was like, yo, I still have my Hurricanes jacket in my closet.
Which was the best.
And it was cool because it's like they connect to it. When you go to a
man.
museum, they're like, oh yeah, I read that in school.
Right.
So like the current history stuff, which I'll tell you like this, when we won the championship in 2006 for the first time, the Heat,
Yeah.
a 20-year-old kid now was 2 years old.
Crazy, right?
So to them, it was like, oh my God, that's from when I was a baby. That's when I was in high school. Like I was already working. I was on set already. So to me, it was the other day. To a kid, it was like, oh, I was a fucking child back then. So that wow factor was cool because it engages with the younger consumer, which that's the goal with everybody, is trying to engage to future consumers. But then also nostalgia for people from our generation, from the 70s and the 80s. And even the early 90s, where like they can connect to that because they remember that. Like me doing all my stuff and finding all this stuff. Funny enough, my girl's looking through pictures of me as a kid. And she's like, yo, have you ever noticed the hat you're wearing in this picture with your cousin? And I look at it and it was a hat from the Miami Grand Prix Camel Racing, which I have a huge Grand Prix collection from the 80s.
No way.
And like I have a picture of me wearing that hat as a kid. And she's like, why would you be wearing that hat as a kid? My cousin that I'm with, Danny, is a huge car guy, and his father, which is my uncle, huge car guy. So chances are it was probably my uncle's hat that I put on because he was into all that shit.
Isn't that crazy?
So, and they're from Costa Rica. And they just happened to be in town, and he had the hat on. So maybe they came to town for that. Yeah. And then I hung out with my cousin and my aunt when my uncle went to the races. I don't know.
Yeah.
But my girl was like, yo, you ever realize what hat you're wearing in this photo?
Isn't it cool?
And I have 3 of them now that I found. You know what I mean? So I think it's just nostalgia for the old heads. And I think it's just a wow factor for like the younger consumer, the Gen Zs and all that, where they're gonna be like, oh wow, like my dad went to those things, or like, it's just different, bro. Think about like, and do you have kids?
I don't.
Okay. Like to think about like I'm gonna be able to show my kid his entire life through pictures and videos.
Correct.
I have a couple photos of me as a kid. I don't have no videos. I have no videos of me as a kid. But I have a couple pictures. My mom was really good at like taking photos and stuff. I really didn't start getting videos of me as a kid till I found the camcorder and started shooting myself in high school. So like my early years of me seeing myself in video was like, 14, 15 years old, when like.
And it's all grainy. It's not even that good. Yeah.
But it's great. Aesthetically, it looks dope. But it's just one of those things where it's like, damn, like I literally have my son's first steps. Like
that's awesome.
And it was cool because I actually calculated it. So like I kind of peeped him and I like turned the camera on. I was like, hey, come here. And he literally walked in. And so I literally have like, so think about how cool that's going to be. Like you're literally going to be able to like hand the drive to your kid and be like, yo, this is your entire life.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that nostalgia of that era of Miami, because Miami's had so many evolutions. It's changed a lot from when we, 80s, whatever. One thing I always felt that Miami really screwed up for a lot of reasons, because it meant so much to our community and there's so much rich history and it brought us together was knocking down the Orange Bowl.
Yeah, I feel the same way about Pink Pussycat.
It's still no, it's not there, right?
It's there, but they repainted the building.
They repaint. Is it still a strip club or no?
I think it's just a nightclub now. I'm not sure.
It's a nightclub, and it's right by Miami Casino or Miami Highlight. Miami Highlight. But you know,
but
it's
yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, man, like that place was an institution. It's no like if you would have knocked down Wrigley Field. You imagine you knocked down Wrigley Field in Chicago.
But that's the thing that goes back to us being new here.
Right.
We're not attached to things because we're so new. We're attached to things because they were here our entire lives.
Yeah.
Parents don't care. That's just a building that was here when they got here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the thing. We're gonna have that respect for Joe Robbie. Like Joe Robbie's not gonna go anywhere.
They didn't win there.
but what I'm saying is, once again, Orange Bowl was there your entire life.
Right.
The people who made that decision didn't care.
Yeah, right.
You know, they're not attached to it.
And now it's got this commercial. I mean, it's a nice park. I'm not knocking. I'm a season ticket holder, but it's just so vanilla, like corporate.
Because
that's
the game.
That's the game now, right?
Yeah.
So
you know, you gotta. It's business. Miami's a business, bro, and you need to, once you realize that and make peace with it, you'll enjoy it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But you just have to stand your ground on certain things. So like, you know, and that's the thing too, is like Hialeah Park as an establishment. When was the last time you were there?
When I was a kid. I used to go there as a kid with my dad.
So why keep it if you don't go? You get what I'm saying?
It's like, crazy, yeah.
You know, and that's the thing. Is like, why do we have beaches? When was the last time you went to the beach?
No, I go to the beach once in a while. Yeah, but not as much. Yeah, no, you're 100% right.
I haven't been on the sand. I went for something during Art Basel because they had a tent. Like,
yeah,
it's one of those things where it's like we get mad, we get bothered when they take stuff away, but I went to the Orange Bowl maybe 3 times in my life.
Bro, Highlight. I was talking about it our last.
I've never seen a Highlight game.
And my first time ever seeing Highlight was within the last year, and then I went to Dania Highlight this week. It's a beautiful sport. It's part of the fabric of our history and stuff, and it's literally going to die for a lot of reasons. Poorly run, the gaming, lots of reasons. But that's a old school, cool Miami thing, and it's only here. Still left in the United States that, you know, in the next couple of years probably be going away. So
yeah, so was running drugs, but
yeah,
you know,
that's still here
to a certain extent. But you know, the lifestyle,
you know, the lifestyle is still here. All right, okay. So you have something really cool coming up called Live on 305. What is it?
So Live on 305 is on March 5th. 305 on the calendar.
Yeah.
We celebrate the community. And it's just essentially a party to celebrate us as a community.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, in the most basic ways. I bring out, you know, I try to get as many people involved from the community. And it's one of those things like, well, the guys last year said that, it's like an old school Miami reunion. Because obviously everybody gets married, everybody has kids, different parts. I've had people fly in from like out of state to come to the event just because they want to catch up with like old friends. And it's just literally a celebration of us is the best way I could put it.
Where is it? What is it? Is it
so this year it's in Wynwood. I'm not announcing the venue yet.
Okay.
But we're doing it in Wynwood again. We did it in Wynwood last year. We've done it in Wynwood since the beginning. We started back in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
22? No, 23. We started in 23. We did it at Oasis. Last year we did it at Maps. This year we're back in Wynwood, but it'll potentially be a different venue.
Mm-hmm.
Starts at 3. Doors open at 3:05 p.m.
Of course.
You know, we're running till 11. DJs the entire time. The way I do it is like this year. Last year I did DJs. This year I did music groups. And what I mean by music groups is like DJ collectives. And I gave them like hour blocks or like 30. So like for individual DJs, I gave them 30 minutes. For DJ groups, I gave them an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And creatively, they're allowed to do whatever they want.
Very cool.
But it's all Miami aesthetics, and it's all, they know the vibe. So they know to keep it crib, but it's one of those things where it's like you'll be able to experience all the different types of Miami style music at the event.
All right, so Live on 305, you got sponsors. Like, who's involved with this?
So this year, I've had great support throughout the years. This year, we actually have Open Laws. OpenLaw.com is coming in to help us out, you know, make sure the event happens.
Yeah.
Shout out to Drew and that whole team. The Mesman and Dover law firm is also involved as well. Right. They're going to help us with the community aspect of the vendors. We're actually going to give away vendor spaces to 3 lucky winners so they can go ahead and sell whatever they want.
That's cool.
You know, rules are they have to be from Miami.
Yeah.
You know, they have to be from the 305. But the goal with this is to extend the hand and help out local mom and pop. You know, it could be food. It could be, actually, I don't know if it could be food because of the venue, so let me take that back. But It could be arts and crafts. It could be merchandising. It could be just anything that's gonna help someone from the
Yeah, that's
crib.
good, man.
To give them an opportunity. And the Besman and Dover are gonna take over that. Monster Energy is involved this year. First year they're doing something with us. Crazy Hood Productions, DJ EFN are gonna come back in and kind of help us out and just bring on the hip hop side. At a DJ level, I have Paper Water. I have 12 with Velvet Velour. DJ Craze. I have the Lemon Pepper Crew coming out. Strange Bass will be out there. DJ Lucky C from 99 Jams. As I said earlier, Power 96 will be with us. Who else? Here, let me pull out the list because I don't want to forget nobody.
So you got a big lineup of sponsors. So how many people go to this thing?
Last year we had to my understanding, we had an issue with we had like a counter thing, and it didn't calculate right. I can calculate a little over 1,000 people showed up.
That's a pretty good showing.
On a Tuesday.
Oh, it's on So today,
this year's on a Wednesday. Yeah,
I'm gonna be there, bro.
Yeah,
Will I fit in? I mean, I am from.
It's for everybody from the crib. This is literally the most inclusive event in Miami because our and mind you, we want to invite outsiders in as well to experience the culture.
Yeah,
but like the goal with this whole thing is, being able to show people who we are and take ownership of our city and just like remind even the big brands, like, all of these are local brands that are helping us out, or at a local level. Mm-hmm. But the goal with this stuff is like to get the attention of the big brands and understand that we have a culture down here. We have our own people down here. We have our own style down here. We have our own lingo down here.
Right.
And like when you come down here, it's not just the palm trees and Ocean Drive. Like there's a culture to this. Look at the Super Bowl. That was straight LA street culture.
Right.
Center stage at halftime.
Right.
We had our own version of that down here. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like when we did the Super Bowl down here, it was Shakira and Jennifer Lopez. Like, oh, they're Latinas. That's good enough.
It was terrible, dude.
You know what I mean?
They're not even from here.
There could have been a Luke moment there. There could have been a Ross moment there. There could have been a Pitbull moment. Oh, Pitt was there, I believe.
Maybe.
There could have been a huge Gloria moment there.
Yeah,
as like, they were, and it's something funny. I was involved with Nike for that Super Bowl, and I had actually wrote like the perfect the perfect run of show as artists to like bring in surprises and bring in people. Like Will Smith had just dropped Bad Boys. So like to bring him in and have him just do Miami, to have like at that level of and there was so many missed opportunities. Like, obviously the best Super Bowl experience I ever saw was Dre in LA.
That was pretty cool.
Snoop and Kendrick. Then he brought out Eminem and he brought out 50. So like he got Detroit and he got New York in, but it was all through everybody on his thing. Like to me, it should be like that. It should be whoever is the star or a legacy star from that city,
of course,
should take ownership of that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Because when they came down to New Orleans, like Kendrick did a great show. It would have been dope. It would have been Cash Money and No Limit, like doing like a.
So and Lil Wayne, like I didn't understand that. Like, why didn't they have those guys? It made no sense to me. They had like a pre-show that had a little bit of, well, it was more like New Orleans jazz,
which is cool.
which is totally cool,
which is well deserved. And I was very happy. Funny that as soon as we turned on the TV to watch it, I was telling my girl, like, I'm so happy that they did that, because to me it's important. To me, it's like if you're going to a city to host a Super Bowl or host anything, look at F1. We have yachts on the track.
Yeah, right.
That's just real Miami culture shit. You know what I mean? Vegas, they're doing it on the Vegas Strip. That's amazing. Like, I just want to go to see, and logistically, that must be a nightmare. But it's so dope that you could be at your hotel and an F1 car just flies down the Vegas Strip. You know, like how dope would that be if we had that like down Ocean Drive?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like down Biscayne, like they used to do back in the 80s. But I'm a big believer that it should be whoever's hosting, whatever the hosting city is, the star should be from that city or have ties to that city. And mind you, they're gonna go to cities that don't have,
that same culture.
But nonetheless, it's only been hip hop the last few years because Rock Nation was involved. But prior to that, used to be Aerosmith, Temple Pilots, all these different rock artists and stuff like that. And I think it'll eventually get back to that. But it's just, I think it was like an easy cop out to just bring like Shakira and J-Lo to Miami because
they're famous,
and they're Latin,
and
they have houses here,
but to me, they didn't grow up
there could have been, even they could have brought on people from Miami as like a moment.
No, but they're corporate manufactured bullshit. Whatever.
But back to the DJs. So I have Strange Bass, Lucky C, Jay Cruz from Tacos and Tattoos. Shout out Jay. DJ Craze, the Power 96 crew, Crazy Hood will have a set on there as well, and Lemon Pepper and Velvet Velour. So the one I was missing was Jay. But it's all different kinds of music. It's all gonna be between hip hop, Latin, some house,
Yeah.
and just we're gonna get weird Miami style.
Will DJ Laz be there?
Laz won't be there, but Power 96 will be there.
There you go.
Yeah,
Then it's really Miami,
Yeah,
dude.
Power 96 will be there. Zog will be there.
DJ Sock.
Yeah.
How old is that guy?
The guy looks like he's 12. That guy, no, he's literally one of my favorite DJs down here, and like the stuff that I see him do is insane.
He's been at it, dude, from when I was a kid.
When he was,
dude.
He's been doing it since high school. And funny enough, one day they did like a Super Wheels Day thing when they were gonna close Super Wheels, and they did like the whole party.
I remember that. Yeah.
I went to the radio station because Laz came back on for the day for like the morning show, and I went to go document it. And I had seen something I had never seen before, where it was like Laz was spinning and Zog had a third turntable on the side, and he would turn it on and scratch over Laz scratching.
Really?
But it's live on the radio. And I didn't understand, and I understand this is all audio feed.
Right.
But like I had never seen that, where it was literally a third turntable and Zog would just get on it and like cut as Laz is cutting, and it just give you that old school Miami bass sound.
Yeah.
That,
that's awesome.
That
dude.
old stuff that you don't, it's sampled now in music, but like that wasn't really a part of like LA culture.
No, man,
really
that was here.
Yeah, obviously DJing is huge in New York, but just how they would cut the record, it's almost like mic checking.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's just a very Miami thing. And it was just cool to see that. And it's just like these two OGs, like
they're the OGs, man.
You know what I mean? Like, and to see them still doing it and like be there and be able to document it and just experience it, it's cool. So even like with the nostalgia and all like the collection that I have, I also collect experiences.
Yeah.
Like going to do stuff like that and documenting those kind of things. Cause to me, it's like, I have it. It's literally in my library of data, and maybe one day it goes in the Smithsonian. I don't know.
I would love it. Or Miami, like a real, true, cool Miami museum.
What I mean? But, when it comes to like Miami history, like the go-to is always Luke, because obviously he was the pioneer.
Yeah.
But I would love to see more of like the Latin hip hop side of things, like in museums and stuff like that. You know what I mean? A bit just like Laz.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Laz is our Luke on the Latin side.
For sure.
Laz was a pioneer in that, like where he's
The
mixing Mami and Negro
Yeah.
with Miami bass, you know what I mean? He was doing stuff that no one else was doing. He's still performing these records like in Texas and stuff like that. He has a huge fan base.
He went to LA for a while, right?
He has a huge fan base in like Texas and stuff like that. So like in the car culture, like obviously that's like from the 80s car movement and the 90s. Laz is huge, bro.
Really?
In that world. Yeah, beyond the Miami bass stuff and like just Miami in general, when it comes to like the car scene, Laz is a big dog in that world.
Really?
Because that music wasn't bass.
Yeah, you're right. Your bass
in the car.
Speakers in the car. He was Mr. Bass. He has a song called Journey into Bass.
Yeah. So like, New York was hip hop, LA was gangster rap, Miami was Miami bass.
Miami bass.
So if you're a car guy, you wanted the thing with the deepest bass, you were listening to Miami music.
That's crazy. All right. Before I let you go, how about some rapid fire questions? I ask you a couple questions, we get going. Ready?
Let me drink some water.
Yeah, drink some water, drink all. You're gonna have to rest up after I get done with you on this. All right. Pastelitos, a Miami staple. Guava or cheese?
Guava and cheese.
Guava and cheese?
Yeah.
All right. Calle Ocho or Wynwood?
From what?
Where would you rather hang? Where would you rather hang?
Hang in Wynwood, cruise through A Street.
There you go. All right. Big debate here in the office. There was a recent freestyle little music festival at Magic City Casino, and they didn't have Stevie B. And the argument was, it's not a true freestyle festival unless Stevie B is there. Do you agree?
I don't think that's fair for the other artists. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot like Debbie Deb and like, obviously Lisa and all them.
Can you have a true, authentic one without Stevie B? The man himself, Mr. Freestyle.
I think so. I'm a fan. I'm a huge Stevie B fan. I was in my convertible yesterday jamming Spring Love. Like that, he's my guy. But once again, I don't think it's fair for the,
for the other great artists.
It's like saying, oh, there's no,
Yeah, throw George Lamont some love.
You know what I mean? They throw all of them some love. Like it's when you go to the skating ring, shout out Miami Roller Rink. Like he's definitely, top 5 artists that's being played in there, but there's also a few others. You know what I mean?
Sprinkled in there.
You know what I mean? So it's tough. It's like a 50-50 for me on that one.
All right. What will happen first? The Miami Dolphins winning a Super Bowl or someone finally finishing the Palmetto here?
I'm not putting my money on either.
You're with me, bro. Neither. We won't be alive. Miami will be in another fucking world by then.
I want them to. Trust me, I want them to. I want both to succeed, but I don't know.
I'm not hopeful. Okay, picadillo with raisins or without raisins?
No reason.
No raisins. What's the ultimate Miami flex? Like a true Miami thing.
Amongst each other or amongst outsiders?
Amongst either one.
We can wear shorts and sandals all year round.
There you go. I like it. All right, best late night food in Miami.
I'm the worst, bro. Taco Bell.
Taco Bell. Coño, man, that's not Miami.
I know, but that's me.
All right, last question. If you could pick the theme song for Miami, what would you pick?
Conga.
Coño, Gloria Estefan. Good stuff. Where can people find out about you?
Easiest is my Instagram at Derick_G, DERICK_G. Because I usually just that's like my field. Like I funnel everything through that.
Yeah, that's how we got in touch.
Yeah, if you go through that, you can probably tap into everything else that I'm doing.
And then your 305 event, how do people find out? Just follow you on IG and you'll post
Follow me on the IG. You can follow the at live on 305, LIVEON, the number 305. Just to kind of get updated information. Right now it's kind of just like has a little teaser on there, but 2 weeks out before the event, we're gonna flood the internet.
Awesome. And you're selling those shirts, right?
So Slide is something completely different than I'm doing. Slide is my automotive media company. I teamed up with some friends, and I'm going back to my roots. I'm going back into the car game, like at a media level, at a content level, where I'm just highlighting car experiences, having conversations with car friends, and just, I got to drive a 2025 Maserati Cielo the other day for the channel.
Nice.
Through one of the homies, Ricky Boada. I always mess up his name. Wow. Shout out Ricky.
There's a big car event going on this weekend, right? Or next weekend?
There's always car.
There's always car. Yeah, Miami
has so much car shit. Yeah. I'm not sure what's going on this weekend, but oh yes, Miami Concourse.
Yeah.
Shout out to John over at Curated, and the homies over at Prestige. They're doing the Miami Concourse, in the Design District. That's like super baller shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Slide is literally just something I'm focusing on. It's on YouTube. Slide Global on YouTube.
Yeah, it's awesome. I follow it on IG. It's really good.
And we're just basically going in on car culture and experiencing. Like luckily, I've because of my photography work and stuff with the content, I'm able to travel a lot. So on the channel, we've already shot in Costa Rica, in New Orleans, Chicago, Arizona, San Diego, and all over Miami. So we've had the channel open for 3 months.
You're great. So, good stuff, man.
So, we're like, I think 23 video now. I think I'm 23 videos in right now. And that's where like all my energy is going to. Obviously, I'm still going to take on the jobs that fall on my lap.
Yeah.
I'm still, going to focus on stuff like that. And obviously, focusing, the next 3 weeks is going to be all in about, live on 305. But yeah, all my extra energy is going to Slide.
I'll Slide. Good. Yeah. All right, brother. Thanks for coming on the show.
No problem. Thank you for having me. Shout out Abel.
Later, man.